What's going on, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of the Weekend Wrap-Up. It's got Myles. Well, I should say it's. We've got Myles and me. It's us. This is Myles, my best friend. Hey, Myles.
What's going on, James? How you doing?
Hey, how was your workout today?
Yeah, it was all right. It was hard. A lot of reps. I was sweaty. And then the hot tub was great. So, yeah, it was good.
So notice Myles said that it was all right. I put the workout together, so it obviously wasn't up to par for what he wanted, but that's great. So we're going to talk about sports real quick. We're going to do a quick wrap-up. Since we don't have any football, there was some exciting basketball action, though. We all got to get the first glimpse of the new-look Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday as they took on the Boston Celtics in Boston during Paul Pierce's retirement ceremony for his jersey. And I'd have to say the Cleveland Cavaliers, young guns, are looking hot. Just off of what you saw, whether it be highlights or box score or whatever, what was your first impressions on the Cleveland Cavaliers?
They're better. They're the East favorite. And, what's funny is after the trades, I remember we were all sitting there, you, me, and Clayton, we were talking dude, the Cavs literally just had the best trade deadline ever. And then I saw some, articles where saying the Cavs still aren't the favorite. There's no way this team's, any better. And it blew me away because I just looked at the players they got, and we all did. They got a lot better. And then this weekend it showed. Obviously, I heard someone say they're still in that honeymoon phase, which could be it, but that's a great start to a marriage if that's the case because they dominated yesterday.
Absolutely, man. And one of the things is I always look for matchups when it comes to basketball. So, obviously we know the Cavs, have to play some of the top dogs. Like the Celtics and the Raptors are probably going to be the top teams in the East that are going to compete. And then obviously the Warriors. So I look for matchups. I think they got better at every position when it comes to the matchups that they're going to have to face those top teams. Jordan Clarkson, for instance, I kept saying that he reminds me of Lou Williams. Guy that comes off the bench, can score at will. And I heard yesterday that I didn't even realize this, but the commentator mentioned he is the top scoring bench player behind Lou Williams in the NBA, which is kind of funny because he is the poor man's Lou Williams. He scores at will, and you could see that yesterday. And what happened, do you remember, last year in the playoffs, in any year for that matter, when LeBron sits even for 2 minutes, what happens to the Cavaliers?
Their point differential is insanely bad.
Yeah, man, they can't even hold their own without him. That was even with Kyrie, right? Kyrie would come in, and, he's a superstar. We know that. But even he couldn't keep the team together. Well, what happened yesterday was LeBron collided knees with one of the big dudes in the paint, and he hurt himself. So he was out for 8 minutes. And during that 8-minute stretch, not only did the first unit, but the second unit held their own. They were only outscored by 2 points for the 8 minutes that LeBron was on the bench, which is the first time I've ever seen that before. So that's why I think that there's a huge potential for the Cavs to compete. And even for a title, I know, like you just said, it's the honeymoon phase, and they don't have a lot of film on the Cavs yet, but I'm excited to see these young guns because not only does it, they're all hyped up because they're on a championship contending team and they're playing with LeBron James, but even the old guys, you were talking about today, too, in the hot tub. J.R. Smith, while it was a terrible dunk, he still dunked on someone. He was playing with a lot of energy because he's playing with these young guys. I think it helps everyone around him. What would you give the Cavs as far as a grade when it comes to the trade?
A+. I really would. They got better. They got better this year. They got better next year. They got better, for the future. Obviously, Hood's going to be a restricted free agent, and I don't know really the contract situations of the other guys, but if they keep, 2 out of the 4, they're a better team. But then my question is, this grade really comes down to how do they integrate Kevin Love back into the lineup when he comes back. So say, they got 27 games left, they start meshing well, they start playing really well together, and then Kevin Love comes back, that could – obviously you get the trade A+, but how do you get the whole scenario, all the moves, what's that grade once Love comes back?
That's going to be tough to tell because, like you said, Love, you never know with him. He's a great player, and he's got his strengths. But, when I look at matchups, especially against teams like the Warriors, and you've got the matchup with, Kevin Love and Draymond Green, Kevin Love and Pachulia, Kevin Love versus JaVale McGee, it's really hard for me to say that he's that great of a player because the matchup isn't really in his favor when it comes down to those top teams. So it might be difficult for him to get integrated back with the team. That's what's difficult to tell right now. I mean, they've done it in the past. He's going to give you your 10 to 20 points a game easy and your 10 rebounds plus a game. The only thing is, man, like Kevin Love, they always seem to play better defense without him. So it's fun to watch them right now as they're meshing and running around, flying on D. We'll have to see when he comes back if their defense actually stands as it is. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited for it, though. I'm excited for the playoffs. I already was. I mean, it's coming down to it. We got teams that we're rooting for, and it's just exciting to see the Cavs at least have some sort of a chance to compete for the East at least. Moving over to the Jazz, man. We're Jazz fans. I'm proud of it, even though it sucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about this.
It's about to get loud. I'm about to get on the freeway, and my car's a tin box. So just so your listeners know, it's about to get loud in here.
On the Civic Pride, dude. So the Utah Jazz, 9 straight victories. What's your thoughts so far on the Jazz? We're more than midway through the season. How are they meshing? What are your thoughts on what happens in the rest of the year?
The Jazz have their first superstar they've ever had. Like Carmelo, obviously he's a star. John Stockton, he was just a great facilitator of Jerry Sloan's offense. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, like a Kobe Bryant type of player, like a transcendent to a franchise type of player, which I guess you could say Carmelo was. Darren Williams was never that. Carlos Boozer was never that. But Donovan Mitchell is. And, dude, yeah, you're going to have to edit that out. Hey, just so your audience knows, it got cut because I almost got hit on the freeway because some dumb A almost hit me. Yeah, dude, and they got Rudy Gobert. They have a good, like, they're one other, like, legitimate basketball player away from being a top 4 seed, but at the same time, that doesn't really matter because even with another superstar, they can't beat the Warriors. But, dude, Jazz look good. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy for them. And their city jerseys, which you have liked since they came out, I am now finally on that train of liking the city jerseys and the court as well. But we're 3-0 in our city jerseys, won 9 straight. We have this good team camaraderie because outside of Donovan Mitchell, we've got a lot of role players. But for some reason, Snyder knows how to pull everyone together and get them meshing well. And it's insane to watch how well everyone's clicking without a ton of superstars. We lost Hood and we lost Joe Johnson. We got Crowder, who played great last night. I mean, it's kind of cool to watch. I'm excited for the Jazz future, but like I said, small market teams like ours, we're never going to compete with the Warriors in this day and age, so it kind of sucks, but we can still root for the small victories that we get. But yeah, I hope you guys like this episode of the Weekend Wrap-Up with me, the Game Time Guru, and Myles as we take our drives into work and our other areas. So we'll be talking to you on Friday. Make sure to tune in and listen to the episode coming up on Friday, and hope you guys have a great week.